Hey guys, welcome to Matrix Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what the world would be like if all drugs were legal. So help us out with this conversation. We're going to have fun with it and let us know what you think. What would the world be like?
Let's go here.
Where do we start?
Let's talk about let's dip our toes in gently. Let's not get fully
Let's
into
just.
it. But how much
That
fun
would
would
be the
that
idea.
be? How like the funness of that
So
for some people that would
that would want to
partake in
doing such.
recreation.
Do you think there are a lot of people who
like wine? Talk about like wine,
like wine?
like how wine's like a vibe and
Yeah, absolutely. There's
Maybe.
there's a theme
yeah.
that can correspond
Maybe
with
like
it.
a white wine when you're out. It's spring. It's
Yeah.
summer. It's warm.
Yeah, that's okay. I see what you mean.
You got a winery. You got a
With
golf shirt on.
yeah. Testing it
Yeah,
out.
you're testing. You're sniffing it. You're doing the Gary Vee.
All of it.
You're doing all of that. But like, let's say it's now.
All the tasting of the wine.
I don't know. It just sounds raunchy to say cocaine to do that. I don't know if that could be it. It sounds not as fun because we know the questions of.
Before any of that, do you think that there are a lot of people kind of on the like behind the scenes who would actually have, you'd say, I guess, the personality to jump into a lot of recreational drugs, but don't solely because it's illegal? I'm not talking extreme cases. I'm just talking even the typical like weed and
Maybe one or two, maybe. This is my feelings here. One or two, maybe, because I feel like if you really want to do cocaine or heroin or something, one of those like stronger drugs, like LSD or something like that, you're gonna go and you're gonna like find a way to the sneaky markets,
that's fair.
get undercover stuff, go on those websites online, like the black market.
I see.
Stuff
Yeah,
like
that's definitely a lot sketchier.
Yeah, like you can buy anything on there, right? So.
Yeah. Interesting. So, all right. So let's say everything was legal. We've already seen up here in Canada, weed's been legalized. Have you seen a drastic shift at all in terms of how people relate to it, the approach?
I don't think we're drunk. What do you think in terms of? I don't think it's like that though. I don't think it's like people are more okay with drugs.
Yeah, it seems like the narrative across is just people who've done it. It didn't seem like there was an influx of people that kind of hopped on. At least from what I've seen, I haven't
think people are into drugs like that. I don't know. Not like the way wine is, because like with wine, that's a vibe. But
well, and again, because it has that theme around it, right? Because there's like an ambiance.
Weed's kind of getting like that now.
In a way, yeah.
Well, people definitely they know shit about weed. There's like weed cooking shows.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
There's things like it's not just like people smoking out of a bong in a basement.
And the typical like stoner
persona. There's a lot of like playing video games, eating pizza, that type of like the heroin.
But that doesn't
movie
characterize the entirety of it.
No, that's definitely a big portion to it. Like that, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
You can do that. But I'm just saying.
And so it doesn't characterize many, right? There are a lot of people who use it, before going to school, before going to work, whatever the case.
What do you think it would be like? Imagine like an LCBO or whatever, right? If you could go, honestly, even I know we've probably never been to a dispensary, but in some dispensaries, like they're nice, man.
Yeah, what's the setup?
Man, it looks like an Apple store in them. Like they look like when you go to the Apple store, you're like, this is not just a store. This is like an experience. It's an experience when you walk in there.
Absolutely.
The people at the dispensary, I've been to so many dispensaries around the GTA.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never been to one except for one in Mississauga. I can't remember the name. It looked like it was like in a fake computer store. That was fake. I don't know what that was. But now the legalized ones, wow, they are crazy, man. They're so nice, so clean in there. You can put that hand sanitizer on when you get in there. They're really nice, they're kind. There's a menu.
Really?
Oh, it's so legit, man.
Isn't everything like in jars and you kind of pick?
Not even like that, man. They have stuff in jars, but it's all like hidden. It's like a menu. And
oh wow!
And then display like the pieces that you use to smoke out of, like a bong or a pipe. Or, I had crazy stuff. Like if you go downtown, there's way nicer stuff.
Oh wow!
It's pretty wild. So let's say that. Let's say there's one like that for heroin, for cocaine, and let's say there's like, what do they do for cocaine? Like let's say like a glass
for crack and stuff.
Oh yeah, like that, like a piece for crack or like a snorting piece.
Oh god,
stuff like that. What if they sold stuff like that? Like I don't. Even saying that, I feel bad saying it because it just sounds raunchy.
Yeah. Really, it'd be interesting. Well, that's what I'm curious if.
Do you think that could ever happen?
If that many more people would jump on board just because it's illegal. Now, I think the fact that it is illegal does restrict a lot of people, especially when it comes to, I guess, like the more taboo drugs like cocaine, heroin, and so forth. But a lot of it is also just the health aspect.
Yeah,
and that's just it's just. I don't think someone, or I haven't seen personally, someone who has like a flourishing lifestyle using heroin. You know what I mean? Like unless
there's maybe one or two, maybe.
Unless there are cases where you just don't know about someone's like a functional addict in that sense.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see if everything was legalized and then the issues that people had accrued over time in regards to using and abusing these drugs would actually in turn become mental health issues that could be attended to instead as mental health issues rather than trying to scam your way out of getting out of prison because you have drugs on you because you're using them. Instead, you're actually treated instead of looked at as a felon.
What if then, I'll give you an example, and I want to know what you think about this.
Yeah.
What if, like weed,
the
government then would say legal, like we're doing this what if or if it's illegal, right? So if the government, let's say the Canadian government, had that part of their, I don't know, in their system,
like
their budget, or whatever, I don't know what it's called, but let's say they were selling those drugs, I guess.
Oh,
and they were making a profit off that. What would you say to now, if they were making a profit, they used whatever amount, maybe 50%, 70%, whatever it is, I don't know what the number would be, to cover free mental health stuff.
Yeah, like that. If the province
for anybody,
exactly.
in Canada,
all proceeds from the legalization of these issues went to the mental health cases that were in regards to these issues.
Oh, so it has to be in regards to that issue?
No, I'd say mental health overall. But I think that if there's like an easy exchange for like, okay, if they're able to determine how many people are abusing it and then allocating all of their funds towards how many calls they're getting, and let's say in regards to people ODing or people who are just having issues and reverting to these drugs, or if they're in AA and they can't get off stuff that they're using, or if they're in rehab, right? So that those are kind of like, that's like, I guess their initial audience, I guess, that they go after, and really help them out and set up community centers, set up programs to have people come in and really treat themselves instead.
And it'd be free.
And it'll be free, exactly. Everything's taken care of because of the proceeds from selling this.
Yeah.
But then you look at it, there could be a counter effect of when you're selling these things, is there really any good to come out of it? Like what are you satisfying in society by providing these drugs in the first place?
Less people in prison.
Absolutely, yeah.
That would be cool. Less people, I guess that would be kind of it, because if you're legalizing it, I think they would still be doing it.
Yeah.
So it's not you're not going to make anybody less prone to do it. If they're going to do it, they're going to want to do it regardless. And if it's illegal now, they're going to, for sure, do it.
Yeah, and then that's where it gets really iffy, because I'm just curious, again, how many people would kind of jump on board now because it turned legalized. But it doesn't seem like it's something that it's not as recreational. Now, is it not as recreational because it's heavily illegal, or because it's just something that's not really, that you don't really tend to? And I think there's a bit of both factors.
I think it's a little bit both.
Yeah, because when you look at weed before it was legalized, it was still heavily recreational.
Yeah, but there was like a stigma. Now the stigma is like not as bad.
Yeah, that's true as well.
It's pretty chill.
It is. Yeah, it's relaxing.
Pretty chill.
You hear about people from all walks of society who partake consistently,
and it's not like a thing how it used to be. Like before, it was like, oh, that person's
that's a smoker, right? Yeah. Now it's not really a characterization.
Now because there's too many people that do it.
It's
I feel it's like Not too many. There's so many people that do it. It's just like it's hard to find that a group of people that whether nobody's done it, like a whole group.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I don't know. I've never been in a group where nobody's done it at all. The whole group?
Yeah,
No.
that's fair. Yeah, I see what you mean. What do you think? So then, back to let's say an issue of a prison example, where do you think people should be given amnesty, where they should have that in place over all the people who were?
If you're making money off of it, yeah. If you're
gonna release them,
yeah,
allow them to do their thing, educate them and help them get back into society.
Maybe they don't have to sell the drugs though, but they could do something else.
No, of course, yeah. If they're out,
because if it's legal, then it kind of has to go through the government. You can't, unless
you have vendors that you have like
accredited
by the government,
like some like a store.
Yeah, what would the stores look like?
If you could buy,
because there's a huge exposure.
Yeah, like an LCBO. What if you walked into an LCBO and there was heroin, crack, LSD, all that stuff?
Yeah,
there.
So that'd be really tough. But similar to even like an LCBO, like you can have children walking around in there, and there's a lot.
Yeah, but even like a 20-year-old doing cocaine or a 10-year-old doing cocaine, both are bad.
Oh yeah, both are absolutely awful.
Both are not good. Both are not like ideal circumstances.
So then, who would you admit in the cases that someone wanted? That's what I mean. If it's legal,
not just make it to adults, but like.
Or what if it was just people who previously had severe issues, and you only allow it to them so that they don't go through like a severe withdrawal, but along the way you help them out. So those are the number one, the only people who have access to it. But that would kind of counteract the situation, because anyone who would sell it on their own terms and get it, it'd still be illegal.
Yeah, that would still be illegal.
So,
and that's like where the main.
And that's what the issue, that we'd be trying to tackle is, right? Now, there are reasons for it to be illegal. First of all, it could definitely affect society. And secondly, it's the government's dollars that are being funneled in a very illegal way.
Yeah, it's just not good for you overall.
Exactly. Absolutely not.
But I think I don't know, like in terms of if it was actually legal, the whole world.
Yeah, everyone. It was just like there was no taboo either. It was just extreme drugs. Anything was legal.
No. If there's no taboo on top of it,
yeah.
Oh, then people are gonna do drugs, 100%. But if it's just legal everywhere, then there still will be people who just won't do it because people don't want to be associated with drugs.
So you think it's the taboo that's actually that overwhelms even the illegal?
Yeah, 100%. Because there's sometimes people would just do cocaine a couple times, or they would do crack maybe 1 or 2 times. They would say that maybe it would turn into an addiction later on. I don't know how people get addicted. But like some people maybe they'll do it once a year then.
Yeah, I see.
As a birthday or something like that.
Just like once in a while type of move.
Maybe once a month or something like that.
It's just the issue is that these are so highly addictive, right? So people who may even try that once or a couple times because it is legal, so therefore they might be more prone to doing that. They might actually more so get hooked. Or with maybe that's not really the case.
No.
Where it's like you could try it and then try it again and not really. And a lot of people aren't really so fixated on it.
I think you gotta like for weed to get fixated on it, you have to do it every single day.
It's like part of your routine.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta put it into your schedule.
Yeah.
If you don't put it into your schedule, it's just like you don't do it.
Whereas with these other drugs, they have like a grasp on you.
It's kind of like in your brain though. The other ones, like I'm pretty sure with cocaine, the first time you do it, it changes something in your brain. Like the first time you do it, so no matter anyone's done it even one time, their brain has changed some sort of something. There's something, something like that.
I may have heard that.
When what would be awesome? You had someone on the computer to Google that.
Yeah, get some tracks in here.
That'd be awesome.
Just fact check everything. It's just a fun casual combo. But no, yeah, we do highly recommend everyone informs themselves about these topics. It would just be interesting to see what the distribution process would be. Like, would it be at your local drug mart, your local pharmacy?
That would be interesting.
And they just give it to anyone over, let's say, 21?
21. It's just 18 or 21. I feel like, what's the difference, really? But yeah, just make it 21.
Yeah.
And then
because in that case, just a lot less people who are able to have access to it.
Yeah, but eventually they will.
But yeah.
Like 3 years later.
Well, the big thing again, all goes back down to education.
Yeah.
So
you know,
that means if it is going to be legalized, then it's going to be talked about more in the education system about what the adverse effects are and why it's not safe to do and why it is legalized. So they'd have to come up with a plan as to why it's legalized in the first place.
Let me ask you this then: do you think in school we should be taught like? Do you think in school we should be taught drug addiction, all about the drugs? Maybe not in grade 1, but eventually over time, maybe when we get into high school, or maybe like I don't know. Maybe because of the school the high school we went to, there's no drugs really. So
yeah,
that's not probably a good example. But maybe like you start middle school, probably grade 7 for a lot of schools, because our school was not like that. It's not everywhere else. So maybe if you kids start going to middle school, like preteens, start learning about like weed, smaller things, and then once you get to high school, start learning about cocaine, LSDs, what it does, and then make it known like how bad they are for you. Like if you know how bad something is, and you're in a good spot, you might not want to do it as much. Maybe.
Yeah, that's fair.
That could be an option.
But then there's the other side where people are also, when they feel restricted, they might have this inkling to actually go and do it. Instead, it's actually, run that curiosity and kind of try it out for themselves.
They can see, when you're taught, let's say, like, when you're taught about drugs, you could show little examples. There's too many people who had, like, ruined their whole family life, ruined their own life, ruin their careers, ruin everything because they picked that. And reason why they picked that is whatever up to them. I'm not really sure why they picked that, but it just, if we didn't have drugs, maybe they wouldn't get to that.
Yeah.
So just to assist, I don't know why people choose to go down that path. Whatever circumstance happens in their life prior, that's everyone's different. But I'm just saying, like, if we could make it where they don't go to jail for 30 years after because they had an ounce of coke on them. I know it's a lot of, I don't know, I think it's a lot.
I'm not sure what the actual...
But, like, let's say that's a lot of cocaine that you have an ounce, let's say.
It's a lot. Yeah, no, that's wild. But I'm not sure the actual, like, how long you typically would be going for. But
it's on your system. How do you get a job, a proper job now? Let's say you were...
A lot of the scarcity, though, and that's what one of the issues is that a lot of the, like, this, because people are kind of scared of that, it actually inhibits people from doing so in the first place, from actually, carrying that much coke on them or from getting involved into that area. And because it's illegal, you're also dealing sometimes with a lot of people that you may not want to be dealing with, right? So that's where, if everything was legalized, it was easily accessible, would that dramatically, actually, I guess, calm society down in terms of the reach and kind of the drive to go get it?
Yeah, I only think that the only reason why they wouldn't get it is you have to know about how bad it is.
Yeah.
That's all it would be. Just because it's like, if you want it, man, you're going to get it illegal or not illegal. Like, if you don't care about the side effects of it, you just want it, you're going to get...
It's also the circumstances you're in, because if, let's say you grew up in an area where there wasn't much ambition with the people around you, you weren't really...
It's an easy, accessible...
inspired to really achieve your goals and to live the lifestyle that you truly please, and it is accessible, then, you might get caught up in that, and that's a major issue as well. And so if it was instead, you could just get it at your local store once you hit a certain age, and then that money could be also funneled back into the communities where those also have issues. This could be part and parcel into where those proceeds also go, into like the mental health calls, as well as into the communities that struggle with these issues, where they're having a tough time getting off the ground because,
That would be good, actually, as well. Like, if the proceeds... Yeah, what would you think, Ben, if the proceeds went to a bit to... It would be free therapy.
Yeah.
Free therapists.
Rehab, everything.
And rehab, everything like that.
Yeah.
For the whole country, for the whole world.
Yeah.
And then also, so you get free health, free healthcare. Oh, no, sorry, free therapy, free rehab, all that kind of stuff. And then also the communities, you could see that there's probably data somewhere on Google or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The countries, every country has data on their people. You see the communities that are most affected by drug use.
Yeah.
And go just one by like down the line, 1, 2, 3, and just start like pretty much funneling money to those communities, so that they don't have to go to those circumstances. Because nobody is choosing drugs that's living nice and is sane. That's not a thing. You're not choosing that.
It's not a healthy thing to do.
You want to do that. You're choosing that because it's a forced thing. You don't want to have
There's
to
a conditioning
do that.
element. It's like a fallback sometimes.
Even people that choose to do that, if you really spoke to them, I bet you they wouldn't want to do that. They feel that they have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only option for them or whatever. Even though there technically may be an option somewhere else, maybe they don't see that. And that's why that's why they're doing that.
And we don't mean to speak on behalf of these people. We don't know.
I have no idea. That's why I'm putting it open.
But yeah, exactly. It's just open discourse is all to better understand the reasons for doing so and how we can alleviate them. How the thing is, though, when it comes to that, when we talk about the free therapy being that it's coming from the proceeds of therapy and the facilities so that people can go to rehab and get the help that they need, is that they're kind of paying for their help through their vice, if that makes sense. So it's like you pay for cocaine, but then that money's going back to you to help you, which it definitely does seem like a productive task overall, because ultimately if that person's going to do it, then they're going to do it anyways, except this time they're actually getting the help from it. But you're going to have to sell to a lot of people to be able to provide that much accessibility and that much access to resources, paying the salary of therapists, paying for the facilities. Like, we're talking a lot of money around the world, which means that you're going to have to sell a lot. It's going to be like, are they going to put up marketing campaigns? To go pay for
it might not make sense
so that the proceeds go well. It's like selling you a bad apple, but I'll give you free health insurance.
Yeah.
So it's like, what if we just stopped it from the get-go? Now, I think at the start, where we can actually place those proceeds and put our efforts towards helping communities, because there are communities and people that are in distress from drug use.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a very real thing. But what can we do to just kind of stop it before it even happens? And I think that we talked about this on the last episode, where there's a play on both ends, where it's like people have to adopt it and the infrastructures in place have to compensate for everyone to grow. The same thing with the vegan example. It was like for them to drop the costs, you want more people to adopt it, and these things feed off of each other.
The government has to pay up regardless.
That's a big thing. That's
if
a big
they want
thing.
to, they just. Man, I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to make it easy with drugs. Obviously not. Like, even to get into it, even if we wanted to talk about just the war on drugs in general, we see in the U.S. all the people that die from different drug trade. It literally has nothing even to do with the actual drug. It's like you being like the mule in between. Like, it was just carrying the drugs. How many of those people have died? People's family members because a drug deal goes bad. All these random things
so
that go on with these selected groups that do stuff like that. They're getting involved into drugs and selling it and at the borders. It is insane. It's after the smuggling that goes through different countries.
The dirty work that's done on behalf of the people, from things that I've, that you hear, whether it's through like documentaries or even through movie series, and sometimes you got to be careful where you're getting your information. But it's the whole concept of there's that narrative around how the governments would also use these mobs and these people to do the dirty work that they can't do. Yeah. So, and that's where it gets iffy as well. It's like they're kind of. Honestly, it's a tough scenario all around. But when it comes to the monetary aspect, the taxes that they make. Well, the taxes that the government makes from selling this equipment can also go towards the health and the education, and then also they know where the money's being funneled, because that's a major issue, is that you have a lot of dollars in that respective currency that are being, funneled around underground in a very illegal way. So they're able to control that much easier. If they were to legalize it?
In terms of like all drugs being legal throughout the whole world, in terms of we're not talking about war on drugs, like that. If it was all illegal, imagine then, like the whole smuggling, like the word smuggling would be like irrelevant to us.
Because it would be like you're smuggling.
You can't smuggle.
It's legal everywhere.
Yeah, it's legal anywhere.
There wouldn't be any smuggling. So you're able to bring some on the plane, bring some, in your car. You're driving across borders. It's just another thing that you could bring. But then this is what's interesting, is how would, if it was viewed as a mental health issue instead, people who are using these, where would we know where the line is?
But straight up, honestly, if you find a person with mental illness, other way around, find a drug addict with mental illness.
Yeah.
And every single drug
addict. How do you
know
if someone's an addict? Like,
that's
my point. So the person is out there casually doing coke, for example. Or even, let's say, if you went to an extreme case like heroin, and they just did it casually, people knew about it. It was just, again, there's no taboo. It was just a common thing. How do you know when it breaks that point if you're not actively involved in that person's life? Now, it's not that it's all on your responsibility to vouch for them and make sure that person's going to rehab, especially if you don't know them as well, or to kind of bug them into doing something that they may not feel comfortable doing. But it seems like any use of something extreme like heroin is an issue.
Do you not think you would see it on like a person? Like they would look like, what's that word? Disheveling? I don't know that word.
Like when someone's disheveled?
Yeah. Like they look like messed up.
But maybe because that's a persona around, not only a persona, of course you could tell in extreme cases, but if someone's just doing it once in a blue moon, like in that case, to be
so then allow that. I'd say.
Really?
This sounds bad to say that though. Like
that's what I mean, because it's even one time, and is that because of the condition that we have around the taboo? But I don't think so, because this is an extreme drug. We're not just talking.
Because I just feel like just in case you might get hooked on. But let's say this: if someone did coke once every 3 months, so it's 4 times a year, right? They're not hooked on it. It's not something that they casually do. They don't want to talk about it until it's a couple of days leading up. Do you think that's okay? What would you say to that? If that was your friend. If that was me, let's say. Mom, I don't do that kind of stuff, just so you know.
He doesn't know me. It's an example. Because we're so close and because we're so active in each other's lives, I'd be able to see if it were to deteriorate. And from then I would let you know immediately. So I'd be able to recognize that. But with coke, it's not. It could get really bad, but it's not as extreme as the case of heroin. Like even if you told me one time you did heroin, I'd say that's pretty fucked up.
I would need therapy after.
Yeah,
because with that, there's such a taboo that we're taught from such a young age.
That's like heroin.
Everyone knows heroin's like this
opioids, or even and then you talk about. I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize, but even I'm just saying, if you went to the prescription area, right? Like people who have used those, those can be just recognized as party drugs sometimes.
Like Xanax.
Yeah, like Xanax, for example. Some people literally just do it, when they go.
Xanax and cocaine, I've never seen from when I was in high school to when I was in university, the difference of people that I just came around, I guess. Not even people I knew, just people I would see. How they would look and talk about those two drugs when we were in high school, and then when we got to university, I could not imagine just the use of it.
Yeah, how
nonchalant it is.
It's wild, but that's what I mean. And some people, especially when you see in university, some people are very functional. Like you see, they go hard on the weekend.
I'm not saying anything about these people. They're nice, caring, awesome people. They work hard. They definitely work harder than me in school. I definitely did not work as hard as some of these people. And
That's why they're able to turn it on and off. Like
they go
really
in
hard,
and
and then
3-4 nights. They're doing coke. They're doing.
but then they're up next morning ready to study if need be. So it's really weird. It's where's that?
How do you tell that person?
How do you tell that person?
I don't think you should do this. Like, man, I'm doing better than you in school.
Like,
you know what I mean? If you're one of those people like that, like really, your average is you and stuff like that, and you're a lot of people in university that is them. So if they're having a conversation like that, you have a lower average than that person, right? Mm-hmm. You go to them, you're like, man, like I don't know if you should be doing that. It's like I'm in all your classes and you're getting notes from me. So what are you saying?
What if you just turned into like a health conversation? Like it's just not healthy. Like if one of your roommates who was not had a 99 average.
But what if they worked out stuff?
But if they weren't eating well?
I don't think it affects your food. Oh, maybe they just don't eat though when you're doing cooking. Right?
Oh no, I'm just saying in general. Like
I don't
turn to a health conversation where it's like instead of just not talking about look how well you're doing in life because you did Xanax on the weekend, but I'm just saying in terms of like for your well-being, you know. Is everything okay with you personally?
Yeah. Because why are you doing that?
Exactly.
What's pushing you to do that much?
Mm-hmm. And that's where it's like, at what point is it an issue, especially if it's, let's say it's legalized where people have so much access to it. At what point are we like, okay, now that person has to go to rehab? Is it when they do the 5th time? Is it when you can start,
I think you're an adult.
But a lot of people, some people,
some
people have self-destructive tendencies, right? And I think there's a part of all of us that have that. Just some are taken to more extremes than others. So it's interesting to see when you see something that could take such a toll on your lifestyle, but also might not. Like some people might just do coke once in a while, and it's like they live ultimately a healthy lifestyle. They're productive. They
just do it 3-4 times a week.
That sounds like a lot. This puts everything in perspective for a lot of people here. What if you have a family? At what point then, like even if you do Xanax every once a month at a party, like if you have a family, let's say you have a 2-year-old daughter at home, it's like, is that appropriate? Or is that just?
I don't think you can do that kind of stuff when you have a family.
Exactly.
Like, if they need to go, like kids are like they're annoying. They have to go to the hospital like every other day.
You have to always, as a parent, you always have to be on. Right?
You have to be on, even if they're asleep. You're like just in case they get up, like you're gonna have to be there.
Yeah.
If you're on Xanax,
there's no way. So are people gonna have to adopt that?
Like this?
Oh, there's no
like you're like man, you're not.
No,
you don't even know what your kid's name is when you're on Xanax. I bet.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know about that one.
Oh gosh, no.
But that's the same thing. You know, many parents probably their kid goes to bed, they drink like a bottle of wine. You can't be drinking and driving like that. They take the risk because nobody cares about alcohol. No one. There's no stigma.
But you can. I know you can't sober up right away, but if you need to call like an ambulance or call someone, you could do that. If you're on Xanax, I'm not saying you can't, but it's like.
But you've never been on Xanax.
No, but
you don't know.
That's fair. But when it comes to drinking, you can. When it comes to drinking, if something happens, you could kind of like you could be coherent. So that's I'm not sure what that's like.
Maybe some people on Xanax, like again, I've never taken a bunch of times. I don't know if like it's like something that you. I don't believe you could pull someone functionally. Like, but maybe someone that's done it a bunch of times. Maybe if they microdose it, because that's the thing too with a lot of drugs now, where you do it in like small doses and. I don't know how it hits you. I've never done that kind of stuff. But,
it's just, again, it's going to be interesting to see, is the people that are going to be helped, is that going to overweigh the influx of people that now start to use it? And at what point is used too much, even if it's one time when it comes to the extreme cases, or is it just a few times a week when it comes to something like coke? And that's where it's okay, the government's able to make money, and let's say they guarantee that's going to be allocated towards helping communities, helping people, and treating this as a mental health issue. But ultimately, what is it that's being provided to society? Now, it's already there, regardless if it's legal or not, there's accessibility to it. But do you think more people's lives would be at risk if it was legal?
I think the only thing is if it was legal. Maybe, if it was legal, I think there would be less people that go to jail, that they could just, if you are caught, let's say it's illegal, and maybe then inside that law there would be a law on how much you could actually have. So if they for some reason saw that you for some reason were tipped off that you had actually no, because you can have so much alcohol. Well, maybe no, you can't. We're not doing a ban on this. I was gonna say maybe like you could only have a certain amount. If you had more than that, then they'd take you to a clinic and there was an issue there.
Yeah.
But let's say there was no, because you can't go with alcohol.
But even if it's one person who goes up to, let's say again, the pharmacy, and it's like, all right, I'll have some heroin, is like, or is that person get a red flag? It's like, okay, we're gonna keep an eye on them and see how many times they come back.
But not with alcohol though. Not with cigarettes and not with weed.
So is the issue? If we focus on heroin, is it? You think a lot of the issues? Well, obviously, it's terrible in and of itself, but how much do you think the taboo accounts for how we view heroin in society?
I think that's like even drug people in the drug world.
Yeah, it's like that's next
think
level.
that's next level.
But then would that not, again, I'm just throwing some counters here, would that not counter the introducing it to opening the area for drugs to be legal? Because then children would be like, well, it's not that bad. My parents don't think it's that bad. My friends don't think it's that bad. So it's like,
because it's legal?
Exactly. Whereas when it comes to heroin, it's like you said, even people know that's it's quite extreme. Extreme.
I don't think so, because I'll give you this example, and I told you this story before.
Yeah.
Years ago, I was in a car with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
He drove me home from work. He's a super nice guy. Like, just also sell drugs.
Yeah.
But super nice guy. He was in his 40s. I was just finishing high school. Not a weird guy. Not like a weird conversation. Mm-hmm. Just driving me to the bus stop, and then I was going to go home. He used to always do that because it was just like on the way for him. And I remember he was telling me just about, like, I was asking him questions. I'm like a little kid.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still young. I'm little.
At this time, yeah.
I'm interested to know what's going on, what's good. And he's telling me, and he was saying to me how the only thing that he would never, because I asked him what he sold and whatnot, and he said the only thing, everything but H. And I had to ask him what H was, because I had no freaking idea. Mm-hmm. And he was like, heroin. And then he said, no way I would sell heroin
to that,
because the jail time that you can get for that, it's like, and the people that like mix up with that, it's like,
yeah, you see what I mean? It's like another level on so many different.
And he sold everything, man. This guy was a wild man.
Wow.
So I think there's even levels to that, and I think like heroin is just one of those things that, like, if you're doing that even the one time, it's an issue. So if it was illegal, it would just be people that are not going to jail for this. Like, you shouldn't go to jail.
Mm-hmm. But if that's what a lot of people are initially afraid of, then they might be more welcome to do it instead. See what you're saying? And this is where I say, do we make an exception on the extreme cases, like heroin? It's like it's open, it's legal, but there's like moonshine, for example. You can't sell moonshine at a liquor store. It's technically it's illegal.
I think illegal. I know to make it. You can't make it at home. That's illegal. People don't do that.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. There's got to be some exceptions for these extreme cases when it comes to something like heroin. So maybe that's just put in the back, in the vault, and that's only for, well, it shouldn't be for anyone, but
I don't know.
That's interesting. Yeah, to see what the effects are, and again, to see how many people would be more introduced to it, more interested in dabbling in it, and then more people that would actually revert, because there's probably that element of, again, when it comes to these extreme cases, I really don't think that there's many people who really have this curiosity to try it, even regardless if it's legal or not. I just think it's just that far extreme that a lot of people are okay with the weed, and even, let's say, cocaine. And it's like, look, I'm not even, like, why even tread those waters?
I think that's...
Even if it was legalized. Even if it wasn't sketchy to do or sell, right?
I think that's the one thing we can take from this whole conversation or topic. If weed was, I guess, legal in the whole world, what would the world be like if drugs were legal in the whole world? I think the taboos around it still, I don't know how it is in other countries, but just in Canada at least, and maybe even in the US, we kind of share similar in this North America.
The similarities, sure.
I think we can say like the most extreme drugs. I think would be
There'd have to be exceptions there.
so maybe an exception. I think you could probably pass some of the other ones, but I think just the mass amount of people, more people I think it's bad than it is good to do heroin.
Exactly.
So even if it was legal, I think it would just help out people in jail.
Yeah.
Like not go to jail.
Yeah, that, and also secondly, I think it allowed people to keep tabs on people who are purchasing heroin,
Yeah.
so that they can actually make sure that they're tended to immediately. Let's say if someone just started
Yeah.
dating a heroin addiction, everything was legal, they went to their local shop, that person got heroin, and it's like a bit of a flag. Like, okay, let's make
That
sure,
would be really good.
let's make sure this person isn't coming in 5 times a day. So we know that this person got heroin. Maybe they're just trying it. We don't know. But if you start seeing a recurring pattern,
we refer you now to free.
now you have accessibility,
Rehab.
as does everyone, but there's an eye out there. That
All
would
right.
be the look.
All right. So what I would say was this: any government that wants to talk about, I don't know, making drugs legal in their country, listen to this right here.
Yeah.
If you want some tips, you want some help, come here. We're giving some good tips about free rehab and things of that nature. I think a lot of people would like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, I'm playing here. Don't come to us to do that. We're not licensed to do that. No expertise. This is all fun and games, everybody. But again, thank you so much for listening and everything. We really, really appreciate it. Keep coming back. We're gonna have crazy topics as well. Some wild ones, also some ones that are also just funny. Some ones that are more about calmness and oneness, maybe something like that too. So
absolutely,
we're gonna be all over the place in a good way. So really excited about that.
Awesome. We appreciate it, guys. Enjoy. Have a great one.